a quiet pawnshop owner who has a violent past. His wife has died, and he now lives a lonely life. The only person he has a connection with is a young girl who lives nearby. However, things take a dark turn when a dangerous mafia gang kidnaps the girl. This gang is involved in drug trafficking and illegal organs trade, even using children for smuggling. Now, the man has no choice but to return to his violent past. He takes on the entire gang alone, fighting against ruthless criminals to save the only person he cares about. Will he be able to rescue the girl alive, or will he lose her? A group of detectives sits inside a car, preparing a plan to trap a drug dealer at a nightclub. Inside the club, a beautiful dancer is performing on stage, and the crowd is completely mesmerized by her moves. Meanwhile, one of the detectives receives a call. Their target has arrived. The team quickly leaves the car and enters the club. At the same time, the dancer finishes her performance and heads toward the locker room. Suddenly, a man follows her inside. But before he can react, the dancer sneaks up on him, uses a taser, and knocks him unconscious. She then opens his bag and finds it filled with drugs. Without wasting any time, she takes the drugs and leaves. Meanwhile, the detectives wait for the deal to happen so they can arrest the dealer. But when the moment finally comes, the drugs are already gone. Not wanting to miss the opportunity, one officer immediately attacks and arrests one of the dealers anyway. Unfortunately, they could not find any evidence in the bag because the drugs had already been stolen by the dancer. On the other side, the dancer who stole the drugs is seen enjoying herself with her boyfriend in a car as they speed away. After this, we are introduced to a man named Tae-sik Cha, who runs a small pawn shop and lives a very quiet and isolated life. One day, while returning home, a young girl named Somi follows him. When he reaches his shop, she comes inside and starts talking to him. She then gives him her earphones, and he pays her for them. After that, she asks if he brought any chicken, saying that she likes it too. Tae-sik ends up sharing food with her. She then innocently asks him, "People say you're a bad man, but I don't think so." Before Tae-sik can answer, Somi's mother arrives. She is the same beautiful nightclub dancer, Hyo-jung, who stole the drugs and is also Tae-sik Cha's neighbor. She calls Somi from outside, interrupting their moment. Somi quickly hides under the table. Tae-sik opens the door and tells her mother that Somi is not there. The woman becomes suspicious and demands that he open the door properly. To avoid getting caught, Tae-sik quietly removes Somi's plate from sight and then fully opens the door. After looking around, the mother warns him to stay away from her daughter and threatens him before leaving. Later, she returns to Tae-sik's shop to sell a stolen camera. After he pays her for it, she casually asks him out on a date, but Tae-sik remains silent. This angers her and she insults him, saying he just missed a great opportunity, before storming off. Elsewhere, a Chinese trafficker named Mi-young-gyu angrily slaps his subordinate Man Seok for losing a large amount of drugs. Man Seok tells him that he knows who stole them and promises to get them back. Mi-young-gyu gives him 3 days to recover the stolen drugs. At Somi's house, a violent argument breaks out. Her mother's boyfriend beats her over the drug money. While her mother demands a 50% share, the boyfriend insists on giving her only 20%. Furious, she says she will sell the drugs herself and leave, but he warns her that she is dealing with very dangerous people before storming off. Seeing all this, Somi becomes scared and runs to Tae-sik Cha's house. She talks and jokes with him, eventually falling asleep there. The next morning, Tae-sik takes a bus and visits a place where he looks at his wife's photo, remembering the happy moments they once shared. Outside, Somi gets scolded by a woman because she tried to steal her son's bag. Somi lies and says she was only comparing it with her own bag. A police officer tells her that they will need to speak to her parents to resolve the issue. Somi points toward Tae-sik, but he quietly walks away. Meanwhile, we are introduced to another man named Jong Seok, Man Seok's younger brother. He is seen enjoying himself with women, but then he receives a call. Man Seok informs him that they have found out who stole the drugs. Hearing this, Jong Seok immediately gets up and leaves. Later, Tae-sik spots Somi at a grocery store trying to steal items by hiding them in her pocket. He stops her and asks if she's crazy. Embarrassed, Somi runs away. Tae-sik tries to pay for the stolen items, but the shopkeeper refuses, saying she's just a child and will learn. Tae-sik then follows Somi and finds her crying in an alley. She tells him she was hurt when he ignored her earlier, but she also says she doesn't hate him, because if she did, there would be no one left for her. Then, Somi goes home and sees a horrifying scene. Jong-seok is brutally torturing her mother to find out where she hid the stolen drugs. Watching this, Somi becomes terrified. Later, when Tae-sik returns home, he notices that his door lock has been broken. As soon as he enters, two gangsters confront him. One of them threatens him with a knife, but in a split second, Tae-sik disarms him and throws the knife aside. Seeing this, the second bigger gangster attacks him, but Tae-sik beats him badly. Hearing the noise and the sound of the window glass breaking, another gangster is alerted. He goes upstairs and hands him a phone. On the call, Jong-seok tells Tae-sik to return the bag and camera that Somi's mother had given him. Otherwise, they will kill both her and Somi. Without hesitation, Tae-sik hands over the bag. When they open it, the drugs are inside. It turns out that Somi's mother had hidden the drugs with Tae-sik so no one would suspect him. Before leaving, one of the gangsters suddenly shoots his own partner right in front of Tae-sik as a warning, then drops a phone and walks away. Tae-sik tries to chase their van, but he fails to stop them. Inside the van, Jong-seok angrily scolds his men for not being able to handle a single person. After some time, Tae-sik receives a call. The gang tells him that they will release Somi and her mother, but only if he completes a delivery for them. With no other choice, Tae-sik agrees. He drives to the location they provided, unaware that Man-seok and Jong-seok are secretly watching him. His driving skills shock them as he moves with incredible speed. Tae-sik finally arrives at the delivery point, where he meets Myung-gyu, the boss of the two brothers. Tae-sik demands that Somi and her mother be released. However, Myung-gyu has no idea what he's talking about. Suddenly, Myung-gyu receives a call. It's Man-seok. In a shocking twist, Man-seok has set up his own boss. Seeking revenge for being humiliated earlier, he betrays Myung-gyu, planning to take over the operation with his brother. He even tips off the police to trap him. Within moments, police cars surround the building. Realizing the situation, Myung-gyu orders his men to kill Tae-sik, thinking he's part of the trap. But Tae-sik reacts instantly. He jumps out of a window onto a large net and escapes. When he sees Myung-gyu fleeing in a car, Tae-sik immediately chases after him and hits Myung-gyu's car. After hitting the car, the man runs on foot and Tae-sik pursues him. Tae-sik continues the chase on foot, but the man still manages to escape from both him and the police. When Tae-sik looks into the trunk of the car, he freezes. He sees Hyo-jung's body inside, dead, and some of her body parts have been stolen. Soon after, the police arrive near Tae-sik and suspect him of murdering her, so they arrest him. The police then interrogate Tae-sik at the police station. Meanwhile, an old woman working for Jong-seok and his men turns out to be managing a place where children are forced to work as drug smugglers. While under police custody, Tae-sik manages to escape from the station, evading the tight security. He surprises the police, incapacitates some officers, and defeats them alone. The surveillance cameras capture his actions, leaving the police astonished. The authorities later discover Tae-sik's identity. He is a former covert operative for South Korean Army intelligence. He retired after his wife was murdered. Tae-sik searches for the cell phone that Jong-seok gave him, which he had thrown away in an alley. He goes to a cell phone shop to inquire about it. When he asks the seller, one of the men approaches with a knife near Tae-sik's garden, but Tae-sik immediately fights back, overpowering and brutally defeating all of them. Terrified, the cell phone seller surrenders and gives Tae-sik a business card of the person who bought the phone. Tae-sik immediately goes to the address on the card, which turns out to be a nightclub. In the elevator, Man-seok sees him and recognizes him, but Tae-sik does not know him, as they have never met before. Man-seok calls his brother, who is playing with beautiful women, and tells him they need to go elsewhere. Man-seok senses that something is wrong. Meanwhile, another man named Dochi, who works for the two brothers Man-seok and Jong-seok, calls the cell phone dealer to the restroom, but he is actually calling Tae-sik. Tae-sik arrives, fights them, and strikes Dochi on the neck with a knife, demanding to know where Somi is. Dochi writhes in pain, and then a dangerous gangster named Rim-rowan arrives. Rim-rowan starts shooting, and Tae-sik gets hit by a bullet, but he still manages to defeat Rim-rowan. Rim-rowan flees, and Tae-sik pursues him, but the police arrive at the scene. Then all the gangsters run away from there. They get into a car and speed off. Tae-sik tries to chase them on foot, running as fast as he can, but because he is injured, he loses them. He has been wounded by a gunshot. Tae-sik then goes somewhere safe and calls his former army friend, who removes the bullet from his body. After that, Tae-sik loses consciousness. While unconscious, he sees a dream about his wife. She is sitting in a car when suddenly a truck crashes into it and kills her. Then another hitman arrives and shoots him multiple times, but he somehow survives. While unconscious, he relives his real past. The next morning, Tae-sik regains consciousness. He asks his friend for a gun. His friend asks what is going on, so Tae-sik tells him the whole story. His friend warns him to stay away from this matter because it is very dangerous. Meanwhile, the police discover that Somi withdrew $80,000 using a stolen ATM card. They realize that the criminal gang is forcing her to do this. Then we see Tae-sik cutting his hair and changing his appearance, making himself look sharp, clean, and like a soldier again. As he prepares to go and find Somi, a detective calls him and tells him that Somi is still alive and that she withdrew money from the stolen ATM card. The detective also understands that Tae-sik is not a criminal, but is fighting the gang to save Somi. We then see Somi treating Rimrowan's head wound, which Tae-sik had caused earlier. Seeing her kindness, Rimrowan begins to feel sympathy for her. The next morning, Tae-sik begins his mission. He notices a child and becomes suspicious that the child is being forced to deliver drugs. He starts following the boy and sees him getting into a van after delivering packages. Some police officers also become suspicious. Tae-sik fights them and escapes by jumping out of a window. He then manages to follow the van. When he enters a building, which turns out to be a drug manufacturing plant, he finds several children being forced to work there. Inside, he sees a doctor with some children and realizes that the doctor is doing something disturbing to them. Enraged, Tae-sik shoots the doctor. After that, he kills the other gang members and injures Jong-seok. He then calls Jong-seok's brother, Man-seok, and tortures Jong-seok while making him listen to his screams. Tae-sik tells him that if he wants his brother alive, he must send Somi to him. Man-seok becomes terrified and agrees to meet at a gas station. However, he secretly orders his men to tell Rimrowan to take Somi to a doctor and take her eyes and bring them to me. Meanwhile, Jong-seok begs for forgiveness, but Tae-sik tells him to ask forgiveness from the children instead. Tae-sik then frees all the children from the compound and destroys the place. After that, finally, we see that Rimrowan has taken Somi to the doctor. The doctor makes Somi unconscious while Rimrowan watches. Then, Tae-sik arrives at the place where they told him to come. Man-seok asks him, "What are you to that girl?" Tae-sik replies, "I am her neighbor." Then, Tae-sik asks, "Where is Somi?" Man-seok shows him a glass container with 2 eyes inside and says, "This is your Somi." Seeing this, Tae-sik is completely shattered. Man-seok then says that she has gone to her mother. Hearing this, Tae-sik becomes extremely angry. He instantly reacts, quickly pulling out his gun and starts shooting all the gangsters with incredible speed and precision. They try to stop him, but he is too skilled, too fast, and too furious. He kills all the gang members there, leaving only Rimrowan alive, while Man-seok looks for a way to escape. Tae-sik then fights Rimrowan. Rimrowan is also very skilled, but Tae-sik eventually defeats him. Meanwhile, Man-seok tries to escape in a car, but Tae-sik shoots all the tires, stopping the vehicle. Tae-sik climbs onto the car and fires at him, but the car is bulletproof. Seeing this, Man-seok starts laughing. However, Tae-sik uses his intelligence and training. He keeps shooting at the same spot on the bulletproof glass until it begins to weaken and crack. Finally, a bullet penetrates through and hits Man-seok in the head, killing him. After eliminating Man-seok and the entire gang, Tae-sik feels empty and heartbroken. He thinks about his wife and child, and then about Somi, the little girl who used to talk to him with affection. He feels that if she is gone, there is no meaning left in his life. As Tae-sik raises a gun to his own head, he suddenly hears a voice from behind. When he turns around, he sees Somi standing there. At first, he cannot believe it. He wonders if it is real or just his imagination. In reality, when Rimrowan saw the doctor preparing to remove Somi's eyes, He felt sympathy for her. He killed the doctor instead and placed the doctor's eyes in the container to deceive Manseok. Somi runs to Taesik and hugs him. Finally, Taesik breathes in relief. Soon, the police arrive, and Taesik surrenders. The detective sees Somi and understands that everything Taesik did was to save her. Before going to the police station, Taesik makes a request to stop in the city. They go to the shopkeeper's store, the same one from whom Somi had stolen earlier. Taesik buys a bag and school supplies for her. He asks the shopkeeper to take care of Somi and tells her to take care of herself until he returns. He then hugs her warmly, and with that, the movie ends. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to subscribe for more videos like this.